We on. All right. Shalom. I guess we're good. So yeah, we're back again. Shalom, shalom. We're back again with another non-elect trait. Tonight's live lesson is continue the non-elect traits that us brothers do. And tonight is going to be going. This one is going to be on being idle. All right, but before we get into it, call Allah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahai, Rakha, Hudash. Double honors to the hopefully like elder apostles at the Great Millstone Church and the elder bishop Shalom to all the Akim out here as well that's under the same doctrine, do what they need to do in order according to the scriptures to the best of their ability, scattered across the four corners of the globe, nonetheless and regardless, and to the rest of the believers in on this faith. So Shalom. So yeah, Bob the Ball, Kwame Ashala. So yeah, man, getting into it, being idle. That's a non-elect trait, definitely. We can go ahead and get a Sirach 33. Sirach 33. And I want to say that's verse 14.
Yeah, kind.
Somebody hold Second Ezra 14 and 47 too. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So Sirach chapter 33 and 14 it says good is set against evil.
Slaki 27.
Kind. Sirach chapter 33 and verse 27 it says send him to labor that he be not idle.
Right. Send him to labor. Somebody get Matthew 20. Send him to labor that he be not idle. So the scriptures against being idle, right? Read that one time out, Bible Shah.
Yeah, Sirach 33 and 27, send him to labor that he be not idle. For idleness.
Send him to labor that he be not idle. Go ahead.
It says, for idleness teacheth much evil.
For idleness, shalom up. So for idleness teacheth much evil. Meaning basically when you being idle, that's how stupid stuff happen. That's how stupid shit happen, and that's how evil things happen. And you're not gonna find the elect doing that, because the elect, they gotta live. Like the scripture say, I shall not die but live. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much idleness can lead to death for any and all of things that may be a part of you. You know what I'm saying? In your situation. Because pretty much you're not in the moment of creating a guard. Imagine being in a fight and you fight Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? And he gotta beat you to be the best. And you standing there being idle, basically with your hands down. You out of there. You know what I'm saying? You through. So pretty much being idle is likened unto having your hands down in the fight. So that's why it could lead to, death for any and all of your things that may be tied unto you with no problem. Because you're in the moment of not creating a guard for yourself. The guard is not up. And any and all other things. You know what I'm saying? You're not in the moment of adding unto yourself. You're not in the moment of fucking nothing. You're just in the moment of, just monster can just draw down on you, anything. You're in the moment of growing. You're not in the moment of getting down the path. So Lord say we on the path. So the minute you being idle, you no longer walking. If you stop walking, how you gonna get to the end where the crown is laid up for you? Like Paul said, he said, I have finished my course. Yeah, ain't gonna be done. That couldn't been done about Paul being idle. All right, so let's get Matthew 20 and start at 6.
Con,
And then we
Matthew,
get that word idle. Salaki.
this is Matthew 26. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle.
See, that's the issue. Just standing around idle. And what did the Lord say? Go ahead.
And saith unto them, Why stand ye here all day idle?
Why stand ye all? Why are you idle? So this is a non-elect trait, definitely, because the Lord, basically, He's here telling us not to be idle. You can read on if there's more.
Matthew 27. So they saith unto him, Because no man hath hired us.
Right, and think about it. Like in a business, everything is keeping that place going, actually going further. Right, it's getting rid of crap, like from the janitors to whatever. Right. To the people that run it, you know what I'm saying? They always add to the growth, right? Um, they might be cutting expenses, right, to stop L's. So what adding to the growth is getting further, and by them running it, managing it, they keeping what they do have, and they not losing anything. And then they stopping losses by cutting expenses, and then with all the way down to like the janitor, right? The janitor is throwing out trash. You know what I'm saying? So that's what hired goes into, like a business. A business can't that none of that can happen if people in that business is being idle, right? So that's why the Lord's saying that, right? And then if you being idle, you get fired. If you being idle, you probably don't even work there. You don't work no damn work, you know. And we that place to work is for the Lord, so you can what get paid, right? You got it out.
Come. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive.
That's it. So anyway, let's read 6 one more time.
20 and 6. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all day idle?
See, so that's what the Lord is against being idle. You're not supposed to be being idle, right? So we're gonna get that word idle. And the reason, and pretty much we know this is gonna be something the elect don't do, because the Lord says right here, He said, "Don't be idle," basically. And the Lord said, so you're not gonna find people that's gonna be of the elect doing this, right? Let's get Matthew 11, not 11, Matthew 6, not Matthew 6, Matthew 7 and 20. Started like 24. Then we get the word.
So, Matthew 7 and 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon the rock.
See that? So clearly the Lord is saying the only people that's gonna He's saying don't be idle. So the elect is not gonna be being idle. Period. And he said, whoever heard my sayings, things I'm telling them, he gonna liken that man unto a wise man. All the wise men will be the elect. You know what I'm saying? All the people, all the men that will be of the elect will be deemed wise. Ain't gonna be no fools among the elect. The Lord says in Psalms the 5th chapter, the foolish shall not stand in thy sight. They're not gonna be around. You know? So you getting busy. If you got a house to build because destruction is on the way, this is another reason why we ain't being idle. You're not gonna be being idle, you know, or you're gonna be destroyed when the destruction pull up. Right? Now, if you can get that word, Baba Kashad, brother, wise, you know, in the Greek, and let's get number. We can just get the whole thing. It's cool.
This is the word for wise in the Greek. It says intelligent, wise, prudent,
Prudent. This the point though right here. What you got?
i.e., mindful of one's interests.
See, when you idle, you're not even like your stuff gonna go. Basically, when you're not being idle, you're concerned with your interests. You know what I'm saying? You always add to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot of things to add. You can read that. What's that? 1 Timothy 1, was that 1 Peter, where the Lord said, He gave us all things that pertain unto life. So when you got which is this truth, ultimate is knowledge, and pretty much when you get faith, you add to your faith virtue, temperance, patience, all these different things. Constantly add, and then you take it away. You gotta mortify. You know what I'm saying? You building a house against the time to come. How the hell can you be idle? Right? But a person tending to that is those things are a person that's not, is a brother or sister not being what? Idle. Right? And that shows what? They have, they're mindful of their interests, right? Ultimately of the Lord's interests, right? And to be mindful of one's interest, which is basically seen in you not being idle. But that's the meaning of a wise man. That's what a wise man is. So a wise man ultimately is not an idle person. You know, if destruction on the way, how are you wise by not preparing for it? If you're not prepared for it, if you're not doing the things which you're able to do, you're able and get the things you're able to obtain to be pretty much protected from that time to come. You couldn't be idle. You couldn't be wise at all, man. You'll be a damn fool, as the scripture go on and say. He said, "Whoever hear these sayings of mine and doeth them not, I will liken him unto a foolish man." You know, how you gonna build your house? You didn't even build your house, really. If you slapping together some bull crap, sit down. But anyway, let's get the word idle. You know, and if the brother's got scriptures, other scriptures, bring them up. You got it, brother. Whoever got the word idle.
Yeah, I got it in the Google.
Mm-hmm.
Idle.
So it says of a person avoiding work, lazy.
See, that basically, because what reason? You just a fool in every regard. You know. What else you got?
Yeah, it says without purpose or effect.
Yeah, you have no purpose. Like there's no. Pretty much you don't have any objective for your days. You know what I'm saying? Or any objective when you wake up or going forth. That's basically, or you're not mind. You don't. It's like you don't care about yourself. You're not mindful of the Lord's interest, the best interest of yourself. You're not showing forth that when you're being idle. You know. Period. You're not. What else you got?
It says spend time doing nothing.
Right. You're spending time, but you're doing nothing with it. You know, as if you don't know the day of destruction is at hand. That's why the Lord said you basically, Noah was busy. You know, Noah was busy. All right. And Noah was what? Deemed a wise man, aka a prudent man. Because that's what wise mean, to be prudent. Noah was thinking about that rain that was going to come down. You know, that flood of that flood of a rain, you know, of rain that would come, that was on the way. You know, so he ain't had no damn time to be idle. All right, we can get it in the Greek too. Back in Matthew 20:6.
Yeah, kind.
Yep.
The word is there's not.
G692, argos.
And it says free from labor, at leisure, lazy, And it says, shunning the labor which one ought to perform.
Right. So here it is. If you're supposed to perform this, you're supposed to be building for the time to come, active in like you have interest. You know what I'm saying? You're not only going to not have anything and watch your life based in simple ways, situations, whatever, but you're not going to be prepared in the time to come. Ultimately, you're going to be deemed a fool, aka not wise. You know, because you're supposed to be doing that. When you do what the Lord instructed us to do, which is not be idle, right? You're being wise. So through the Spirit, let's go ahead and jump to Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24, right? Because this wisdom is what runs everything. You know, because with all this being said, you see, this is just not a non-elect trait. You know, scriptures, you know, tell us how shall we escape if we neglect such a great salvation, right? But the point in that I'm mentioning that for is if we neglect. So when you're neglecting, you're not tending to something. You're not minding something. You're being idle, possibly. We're being idle. So with that being the case, you're not going to escape. And guess what? That's not the story for the elect. Those are the people that's going to escape. So it comes down to them not being idle. That's what, and because you know, it's that simple. You got it, brother.
It's Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
This the same wisdom that entereth into holy souls, right? This is the same wisdom that is seen when you apply what the Lord said, right? This the same wisdom. This is how this wisdom gets down. And this is proof if you have this wisdom. Because what it say about wisdom? AKA if you're idle or not idle. Or AKA if you're idle. Or no, if you're not idle. You got it.
She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness.
No, from the top.
It's like it. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion.
Right? That's how we know. Wisdom is more moving than any motion. Wisdom always moving. See that? So how can you be a wise man? That's showing you like that's what it is to be a wise man. This is somebody always moving. Because wisdom, this is the same wisdom, which is saying that you doing what the Lord say to do, is more is you always moving in some way. Whether it's you don't just want to be sitting around. Like I said, you either want to be doing something, you either want to be teaching, reading, praying, fasting, doing something that tends to the ministry, sitting down, recouping, right? Getting your faculties back together, you know, watching a movie through the Spirit, something like that. Taking care of your worldly affairs. If you got to stay in the truth and get all the way to the end, if your ass is sitting being idle, which is being still on one level, you off. Right? So that's just the point, man. If when we doing what the Lord say to do, we being wise, as he said, aka not idle. We're gonna always be moving in some way. Because in all those ways, those examples of things you could be doing, that's moving. You got it, brother.
It says, she passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness.
Go ahead.
For she is the breath of the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and a pure influence flowing.
A pure influence doing what?
Flowing.
flowing. See that? What does that remind you of? Ultimately, obviously, a stream, a body of water, the Spirit, which the Lord said, once you got the Spirit, it's going to be in you like that, right? You can get that in St. John, the 4th chapter. And I want to say we can also get that in St. John, the 7th chapter.
Okay, go
St.
where I
John.
missed it.
No. St. John 4 and verse, start at yeah.
Okay, Con.
But you know what? Yeah, you can start at 14.
Yeah,
4
Con.
and 14, Salaki.
St. John chapter 4 and verse 14, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
Which is the Spirit, right? It's one and the same with wisdom, right? Really? Go ahead. Because this Spirit is wisdom, all right? Because really to have the Spirit is to have wisdom. If you can read what you had again, Thor, that same verse.
Yeah, Wisdom of
The
Solomon.
first 24.
Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason.
No. You said how many things?
All things.
That's including this, which is the Spirit. So to take on this is to take on wisdom. By default, wisdom in everything. That's how niggas constantly die, people constantly born, right? This is how the earth works. The earth don't stop. Like they said, the earth don't stop spinning. All of this, because wisdom is the worker of all things. Wisdom is in it. It's constantly flowing. So if we have wisdom, we're supposed to be a physical example of that. In some regard, we always flowing. We all, that's how the elect gonna be at least. So that proves it. So to have this ultimately is to have wisdom, because wisdom is passing through all things. You got it, brother.
It says, by reason of her pureness.
Yep. That was it. You got it. That was it, brother.
Come.
You got it, Mar.
Yeah, Con. St. John 4 and 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
Mm-hmm.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life.
See, it shall be in him a well of water. Right? Now the better one is in it springing up into everlasting life. Pretty much like a fountain. Fountain's always flowing. But to make it clear, let's get the one in St. John 7. And let's read what you had one more time. The flow. Was that 25 or 26?
Yeah, it was Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 25. For she is the breath of the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And
who? Wisdom, right? Application, doing, right? The spirit of being in activity towards one's interest, one's best interest. I need to be doing this. The Lord, he told me to, let me get mine. Let me do this. You know what I'm saying? You always moving through the spirit. Let me do this for. You always got to be teaching. There's a million things you could be doing. Just don't be idle. You got it, brother.
And the pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty.
Let me go work out, right? She's a pure influence flowing like water. When you go to a stream, it's streams that move all year round. The only time they don't is if it's a stream in a place where it snows and gets very cold at, because it'll freeze. That's the only reason. But when that temperature go back up, that water is moving, that stream is moving nonstop. It's not on the electricity bill. Esau can't cut it off. It's always moving. Thus showing you the Lord, showing us how the spirit works. This is the same spirit that's supposed to be in us. Right? And that water is actually able to move like that Like, just go look up, go find a stream. That water is able to move like that off the very thing we reading about. The Lord has given us high knowledge, man. Wisdom. Wisdom is how that do that. So it proves this is how wisdom. How is that stream moving 24/7? In one direction. It's not stagnant. It's not doing none of that. Because you know what they call spring water? That's spring water. The water we drink, if the water you're supposed to drink is supposed to be from moving waters. Because there's life in it. So if the water's sitting still, that means it's dead water. It's dead. There's no life in it. You can't drink of that. And we don't want to be an example of that. We don't want to be seen as an example of that. We're supposed to be an example of how streams work. We're life. You got it. If you didn't finish, you got it. What was our last reading?
Brother, the war was just reading last.
Yeah, there's still more in it. It says, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty, therefore can no defiled thing fall into her.
The scripture say the Lord don't even sleep. Is the Lord ever idle? He ain't never idle. So that's showing you that's how it works. And the stream is an example of him. The stream is a physical living example of how wisdom works. Which is the spirit that's supposed to be on us. We're supposed to be like living waters. You got it, Mahar.
Yeah. St. John 7:37. It says, in the last day, the great day of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink.
See that? So that means Yahushua, like I'm like a stream. Because you're not supposed to drink dead water. You're supposed to drink flowing waters, living waters, right? So he's saying basically he like a spring. Because that's what we drunk from in the times past. You got it.
Verse 38 says, he that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water.
And we're here to be like Yahushua. So if we become like him, right, which is like a spring basically, because he got wisdom, we're going to have wisdom. Read that part again.
Yeah, he that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living, shall flow.
There it is.
Rivers of living water.
Now let's get the word flow. That's it. So it's telling you how living waters work. Well, how do I know if this water is living? The scripture just told us. The scriptures say if the water is moving, it's flowing. If the water is flowing, it's living water. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Living water is always flowing. So if you truly alive, you always flowing in some way. It ain't always doing a lesson. It ain't always reading. It ain't always fasting. But it's always something. You know? You go to sleep. I mean, I'm about to go to sleep. Your house out is always moving. We could probably cap on him, brothers. You know? You got it.
Yeah, so the word is it's in two different words. So we have living and then we got water. Going into living first. It says
you're getting
in the Greek. Yeah,
okay. You get it on Google too. You got it.
Yeah, it says to have true life and worthy of the name. It says active.
If you're worthy of the name, so you're a representation, right? To be what you reading again? Living or flowing? Which one?
Living.
So to be living, right, which is like living waters, right? A stream of water is to pretty much represent the Lord. You know, they say you worthy. What does it say? Worthy of His name.
Yep, it says and worthy of the name.
Yeah, worthy of His name, man. Worthy of the name. Who named His name? Yahweh Shemiel Shai. Because the name don't just mean what He called. It mean also what His reputation. Yahweh showing you the Lord. He always flowing. You know, the Lord always flowing. He always, man. He ain't never stopped. You know how many people he got to run? They always holding councils. He like, yes, make, everything. Yeah, go ahead and put that ball spot in his head. Go ahead and get,
Okay.
let him sweat. You know, the Lord could stop you from sweating. He always man, this thing we supposed to. So when we constantly always like it's like a business, like just business oriented, man. You know, like enterprising. You always seek an interest, like gain, and to not take L's. We always own it. You know. That's why the Lord. That really represent us first and foremost, and the sisters too. But when they say a foolish woman, a wise woman builded her house, but a foolish woman plucked it down. More than likely, that's from her being one way that she could do that is by being idle, but that she also is us, because we're the Lord's woman. So, because of the scriptures, when you go into it, it is comparing it off of how ancient women will actually be. They always, you know what I'm saying? Think about your grandma. She always, you know, she in the field, she washing dishes, she seeing the husband, when the husband wants the kids, she damn sewing, you know what I'm saying? She done had a vision, you know? She thinking about that. She counseling some damn body, you know, she being a pillar. That's how we supposed to be. And it's always, you know, one thing to another. You can taste ain't saying you can't sit down, but that should be in the spirit. You know, that's the best interest at this point. Let me cut the movie off. Right? You got it, brother.
Yeah, Kai. This you about to say something, brother?
No, that's it.
So in living, it says active.
Active. Yeah.
So it says an example, past life, and the manner of the living and acting.
What you read right now? Flowing?
Living.
Living, it's still living, golly. You got it.
Also, it's a bunch in here. Metaphorically, to be in full vigor.
See? Life. You should always, like, you wanted this dude always trying to win and not take L's. She always trying to win, not take L's, looking for over, you know, thinking and, you know, that's a God, man. We supposed to be like that because we got nothing but life to look forward to. We got something to lose. We got something to gain, you know? We ain't got nothing in this world to lose but the spirit, you know, our ticket, ourselves, you know, our minds, the Holy Spirit, obviously. And we got everything in the game, everything. So we always, man, adding and cutting. You got it, brother.
Yeah, it says to be fresh, strong, and efficient.
Yep. That's it. We ain't got to get no more.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. If you have some.
Yeah, I was just going to look up water just to see if there's anything in there. No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Let's get second answers for that 14 and 47. To cap this what's it called off this little segment.
Second answer for Cyrac.
Yeah. Second answer is 14 and 47.
Okay.
So this is how everything works, man. Everything it works off wisdom, and wisdom is always moving. So this is it. We just getting a in-depth understanding of what's in us, right? And if it's in us, which is what, not the trait of not being idle, we're always moving in some way. Like we're because we have wisdom, you know, to be seen. You know, if that's not the case, like you being idle, right? You got it, brother.
Yeah, second Ezra 14 and 47. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom. It says the stream of knowledge.
Dang. See, a stream don't stop. They don't stop. It's the most beautiful thing. You know, I always go to the stream, you know, around the way. And that shit is amazing to see. It just never stop. Like, it's amazing. You know? It's crazy because, like, you would think it'd get old just off of that. But it's always something new because it's constantly moving.
Right.
When you think about that,
yeah,
it's the same thing, but it never gets old because it's constantly moving. And, you know, something constantly moving doesn't apply the same. Like, it's you always on to the next. That shit crazy, bro. You know, So the Lord, he cold, man. The Lord, man. So don't let nobody make you feel like you crazy because you always, moving. Yeah, you got you basically like got the works of the elect. And that's how the Lord was transitioning to him. Did y'all brothers have other scriptures?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, onto the point about Yahushua. Yeah, always. I mean, not being idle. He was always moving. And Yahushua, he's the King of Kings, right? And the scriptures, it likens us to kings. So we should be following in his footsteps. And then when you look at Solomon, he was the wisest man, right? And you being a king, you're always gonna have something to tend to. And then you're gonna have taste in doing so too. You're gonna be careful on what you tend to. You're not gonna waste your time on simple things, right? You're gonna look towards your people, and you're gonna have everything else in order. You got that?
I got some. It's all right. 10:1. A wise judge will instruct his people. That translates to king. It says, in the government of a prudent man, which is the meaning of wise, is well ordered. You got it, brother.
Yeah, it's well ordered too. You got to make sure you got to prioritize too, which I believe we did a lesson on that. Prioritizing what's more important than others. Right? You're always going, and that's how the Lord is. That's how the Lord's creation is too. It's never ending. It never stops. You look at the seasons; they're always constantly changing. Right? The Lord's never idle.
Yeah, kind of. The elder brother, he always quotes, the Lord is stretching forth the heavens, continually.
Kind of. Exactly. Real quick, I got a quick one. This is before we transition. This is Psalms 121:4. Behold, he that keepeth Israel, which is the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Just to back up the war, So it's true. Right? And just to confirm it, it says, verse 5, the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, is thy keeper. The Lord Yahweh is Bahashem Yahushua is thy shade upon thy right hand. I'm gonna read this in the NLT, starting at verse 4. It says, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna read this in verse 2 in the NLT all the way through. It says, my help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let you. I'm gonna read that again. My help comes from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, who made heaven and earth. He will not let you stumble. The one who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel never slumbers or sleeps. The Lord himself, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, watches over you. And it says the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua stands beside you as your protective shade. So yeah, the Lord, he got a lot of watching to do then, because he's just not watching over you, me, or the brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got tons of things, you know what I'm saying? So that just, and then everybody in different scenarios, and so he always moving, this person over here and that person over here. So he just always, that's it. So let's go ahead and let's get Isaiah 42:1.
Yeah, correct.
And let's get Matthew 11:26.
Yeah, correct. Isaiah 42:1, it says, behold my servant.
Let's get Matthew 11 first. Let's do that.
Matthew 11:26. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father.
Okay, jump to learn of me. Was that 27 or 28? Right, it's like the last verse, second to last verse.
Con. Yeah, it's 20, verse 28. It says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give
Right,
you rest."
come on to who?
Me.
Right. The Lord said, come unto him, right? And we're gonna ultimately find out why. Because this is, go ahead.
All ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Right. So the Lord gonna teach us. But why are we to learn of him? Let's get that, Mar.
Yeah, Isaiah 42:1, it says, "Behold, my servant, whom I uphold."
See, behold, look at him. Yahweh co-signed it. So that's why Yahweh child telling us that, because he said, behold. Yahweh told us to behold him. So he telling us what thus said the Lord. But why? Why exactly? Go ahead.
Yeah, behold, my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect.
Because Yahweh Shah is the elect. He's the face of the elect. Right? He's the face of somebody the Lord is going to choose. Somebody that's going to get it done. Somebody that's going to be protected. Somebody that's always minding their best interest. That's why. You could just finish the verse.
Yeah, kind. It says, "In whom my soul delighted, I have put my spirit upon him."
Right. The elect is what's precious in his eyes. That's who the Lord likes. They got the traits that's desirable that the Lord can do something with, to where they're profitable basically. All right. How can you make somebody's business, profitable if you idle? You know? So that shows you how Shah he was completely about it, man. He said, "Know ye not that I must be about my father's business?" You know? So let's go ahead and get Luke 21. Luke 21. Because we know Yahushua told us his will is to his meat is to finish the will of him that sent them, all these different things. But let's just get some examples. Let's get Luke 21 and start at 37.
Con. Luke 21:37.
Mm-hmm.
And in the daytime, he was teaching.
You know what? Let's get 36. No, you know what? You can start there at 37. That's cool.
Con.
And let's read it. Let's read it in the NLT.
It's Luke 21:37 in the NLT. Says, every day Yahweh Shah went to the temple to teach.
See, every day he was teaching. Go ahead.
And each evening he returned to spend the night on the Mount of Olives.
Right. So he was from one thing to the next. Because what he'd do when he'd go to the mount, he'd go to the mount and pray. All right. Let's get that real quick. What's that? That's went up to the mount. Because it ain't like you just stop like, all right, I did it, Because remember, you a stream, and so if he tells us, if we listen to him, we gonna be like a stream. That means, of course, this day you're gonna play games. That means he was like that. All right. So that would have to mean this man was always moving. So we hearing it in one sense. He said what? Well, it says that he went to so like he didn't go. He taught every day, right? So that's in one sense. And then in this, and then after he would get done with that, yeah, Matthew 14:23. We can also get in it. Yeah, Khan. Yeah. Yep. Matthew 14 and 23. But so when he was done doing that, he'd also go to what? He'd go to the mount every evening. And what would he do when he went up to the mount? You got it out.
Yeah. Matthew chapter 14 and 23, it says, and when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray.
After, and what was he doing with the multitudes? He was teaching them. So after he'd get done teaching, which was every day, right? One instance is showing he wasn't a hypocrite. He wasn't idle, right? That's why he's deemed the elect. See that? Read on. After that, he'd do what?
He went up into a mountain apart to pray.
He'd go pray. See that? He was always doing that. Let's get that in back in the KJV in verse 36. Luke 21, 36.
It's Luke 21 and 36 in the KJV. Watch ye therefore and pray always.
See? How the hell he gonna tell us to pray? He ain't praying always. If he ain't praying always, he prayed always because he prayed every day. You don't want to be not praying. You don't want to be missing days praying. You know what I'm saying? At least make sure you tell the Lord thank you. You can't do that at the least every day. Set up the Lord's Prayer every day. You could do it in the English. It hit harder than the Hebrew, right? Get a routine. All right, you try to be your best rendition of Yahushua. All right, and then obviously from those that's around you, like elder brothers or whatnot, that you can learn from directly through build with. Get to it, man. There's always something to be doing. So Yahushua was a complete example of being a stream, man. All right, you finished that up.
There's more. So
Mm-hmm.
that ye may be
Slocky. You got it, brother.
That ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass.
See?
And to stand before
Go ahead.
And to stand before the Son of Man.
Right. Yahushua played continuously too. Because when he went to pray, like how he always do his routine, when he was about to get crucified, he prayed continuously. He sent up like 3 prayers in a row. He like went back. He's like, no, we gonna pray again. Like he was, he was always moving. Then he went to say something to the disciples. Like his life was just continuously moving. Like he never stopped. He didn't, But, hey, the Lord said, arise and depart, for this is not your rest. Ooh, matter of fact, get that in Matthew 26. Get that in Matthew 26. And we can get it real quick in Micah 2. Micah 2 and 10 real quick. And then we get it in Matthew 26. Also, somebody hold Mark 4 and 38. Bob Kashar.
You want where he's praying?
Huh?
You want where the Lord's praying?
No, Mark 4 and 38. That's for a different point. Real quick, Micah 2 and 10, and then get Matthew 26. Yeah, where he was praying, if that's what you're saying, brother Salaki.
Yeah, I got the Micah.
Yeah, Micah, real quick.
Yeah, Micah 2 and 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted.
Yep.
It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
This don't mean you can't sleep. It's just you're not supposed to be in the spirit of sleeping. Because that's an indication that you idle, right? This is Proverbs 19 and 15. Slothfulness casted into a deep sleep. So these different types of sleep. You got sleep and then you got deep sleep. Slothfulness casted into a deep sleep, and an idle soul, that represents an idle soul, shall suffer hunger. All right. So Micah 2 and 10 tells us to rise and depart. It ain't that you can't sleep. Rise and depart, for it's not your rest. So it's not that you can't sleep. You're just not supposed to be in a complacent, idle, not moving continuously spirit, right? And this is how the Lord was. He was like this, right? Let's get that in Matthew 26 and 46. We can start at 43.
Matthew
Matter
26.
of fact, damn, man. Golly. You know what? Start at 42.
Matthew 26 and 42.
The point is at 46. You got it.
He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done.
Go ahead.
And he came again and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy.
See? So they was in that, you know, you got it.
And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words.
Right.
Then,
let me read that same verse you just read, 43 of the NLT real quick. It says, when he returned to them again, he found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open. So that's heavy. You got it, brother.
I got a quick scripture too, just to touch on that.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This is Proverbs 20 and 13. It says, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread.
You want to speak on it?
Yeah, no, it's plain. Like, you can't be, it's love not sleep, you know? Say, like, it's love not sleep. You can't be overindulging in sleep. And
Boom.
Yeah.
That says the difference.
But back to
You got it,
Matthew
brother.
26 and 44. It says, and he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples and saith unto them, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going.
What'd he say?
Let us be going.
Nope. First word.
Rise.
That's it. See that? He was constantly in Yahushua didn't even have a home, so he was that pilgrim the Lord tells us to be. He said, "Rise, arise and depart, for this is not your rest." It ain't that you can't sleep. Yahushua slept, right? When he wasn't teaching, he was in the mount getting his mind together, praying. When he wasn't doing that, let's get to Mark 4 and 38.
I'm here. It's Mark 4 and 38. He was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow.
See? So when the Lord wasn't casting out demons and rebuking niggas, you know what I'm saying? He was doing everything, man. Healing, right? He everything that was of one's best interest. He like, I need my people together so we can rule. I need ones, you know. This is what the Lord wants. He was always on the business in some way. I need to sleep real quick. So when he wasn't doing all those other things, what did it say he was doing? You could probably start at the previous verse.
Matthew 4 and 37. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish?
See? So he was sleeping to recoup, right? I'm going to read this in the NLT real quick. It says, Mark 4:34 and 38 in the NLT, Yahushua was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. So he look at the spirit he in. He sleep like major pain. You know what I'm saying? Always moving. I used to see my pops do that. You know, this dude was always moving. You know what I'm saying? He was always moving. He would never, like, he'd just get some shutouts just so he could move on to the next thing. You know, that's the spirit Yahushua was in. You know, you can't when you constantly trying to, you're not loving sleep. You can't. I gotta get too much, you know. Go ahead, brother.
It says that
Slaki, did I finish?
that was
Yeah.
that was good on verse 38.
Okay, Khan. So yeah, that's the point. But it says in the continuing, the disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we are going to drown?" Now he was doing that just to recruit so he can get back to the next thing. Moses was taking virtue out of him. He was pissed off. He was vexed. Esau taxing him. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shah was always, he paying tax. He doing everything, man. Right? He feed mugs. He eating. He's spending time to talk to everybody. He like, it's so many people I gotta see. He did all that in Jerusalem. Then he had to come over here to the northern kingdom. You know, to the so-called Latinos and Native American Indians and deal with them. After he died and everything, he's like, touch me not. I got to go handle other business real quick. I have not went to my father, right? So after he sleep, just trying to, he in the spirit doing that. All right, let me do this, right? Never being idle. It's different because he's not in the deep sleep. What did he do when he arose, brother? We can read the next verse.
Verse 39, Mark 4 and 39. When he arose.
He did what?
He arose.
He was in a deep sleep. See? Go ahead.
He arose and rebuked the wind.
He rebuked the wind. Go ahead.
And said unto the sea, peace, be still.
So the Lord was all over the place. Look how much he had to deal with, man. And he was willing. He's like, it's written of me to do thy will. I got to show miracles. When I ain't showing miracles, you know what I'm saying? I'm rebuking mugs. I'm teaching. When he ain't in the temple teaching, everything. He in the temple flipping over stuff because mugs in there selling. He making sure mugs ain't, he playing security. He doing all these things. He said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. And the elect is a few amount of Israelites that's going to be saved because most of the Israelites are idle people. They're going to be being idle. They're not going to be in the spirit of Yahweh Shah. That's why we ought to look unto him and because Yahweh told us to look unto him. Behold him, my servant, whom he delight, his elect. Roughly paraphrasing, man. And we see why now Yahweh Shah is this, and how and now further showing that being idle is a non-elect trait, man. You got it if there was more.
And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm.
All right, Khan. Brothers, have anything, other scriptures? All right, well, shit. Let's get hold. Anything we hold?
Lie.
All right, 1 Timothy 5 and 13. So yeah, that's that, man. Yahweh Shah, he the perfect example. When doing one thing, he on to the next. He doing something else in the spirit that was in his best interest. He had to sleep. He's in the body. He had to, recoup, calm down, pray for strength, eat. Let's get that real quick. He probably eating. He won. Let's see what he was putting in his body. Let's get that real quick in John 4 before we go to we end the transition, the segment of Yahweh Shah, and then we close out after this. Let's get John 4 and start at verse basically when the woman approached him. 4 and start at 4 and 7. Matter of fact, 4 and 6.
This is John 4 and 6. Now Jacob's well was there. Yahweh Shah there.
Oh, you know what? I can keep it to the let's keep it to the point, but it pretty much to tell you, it just furthers how he was always on the move. In verse 3, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee after he was talking to the Pharisees and all of that. So he was constantly moving, but you got out.
John 4 and 6. Now Jacob's well was there. Yahweh Shah, therefore, being wearied with his journey.
Oh, you know what? Let me hit verse 4 too. So starting back at 3, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria. You got out.
It's John 4:6. Now Jacob's well was there. Yahushua therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the hill.
God dang. Go ahead.
And it was about the 6th hour.
So he was never being idle. When he sat down, it wasn't even in idleness. He was weary in his journey. Like, let me get my legs together. You got it?
Yeah. Therefore cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yahushua saith unto her, give me to drink.
See? Even when he wasn't teaching, he was drinking, filling up, you know, and it wasn't some Sprite, you know, on some shit at a gas station. It wasn't, not saying brothers wicked if they drinking that. I'm not saying, let me not even say that. But the point is, Yahweh Shah is just trying to really show like he was always like on point with what he was doing. You know, let me get some water.
But he could have,
go ahead.
He could have asked for some wine or like a different type of beverage, you know, that wouldn't have benefited him in the way that he needed to go. Right? Water was the best thing for him. You know?
That's heavy. That's crazy. But then when he needed wine, he get some wine. Never idle. So it's amazing, man. We got something real beautiful, you know. What the next verse say up?
Verse 8, it says, for his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat.
See? So that's how business was being taken care of. Because the church got to eat. You know what I'm saying? The circle got to eat. You know, okay, we got to go. So he constantly moving, man. You know? In the spirit. So that's it. Let's get the last verse in that one that was just called the Timothy. And that'll be it.
What was it? 1 Timothy?
Yeah, was it 1 Timothy 5 and 14?
13.
5 and 13. Yeah, kind. 1 Timothy 5 and 13 says, and with all they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house.
Started 11. I'm sure.
Yeah, kind. 1 Timothy 5 and 11, it says, but the younger widows refuse. But when they have begun to wax wanton.
Matter of fact, start at 8, and then we're going to jump to 11.
Yeah, kind.
You know what? God dang. Yeah, kind. We're going to go to 6. Somebody heard verse 6. Go ahead,
So start at 8.
Yep.
Yeah, kind.
Different points. Yep.
1 Timothy chapter 5 and 8, it says, but if any provide not for his own, and especially for those his own house, he had denied the faith.
Yeah.
And it's worse than the infidel.
So you got 2 levels to that. You got your house, but you got the true house is talking about the house of the Most High. You're supposed to be providing for that constantly. That's why I said so. Wise woman builded her house. It's talking about us. But then spiritually, it's talking about your actual house too. It's talking about it's talking about like your household. You know, you can't be goddamn really just getting this to say you got responsibilities in the world to handle. This is where the Lord saying come in at where he be like, I pray that thou take them out, not out of the world, but keep them from the evil. How do you be kept from the evil? Sirach 33. Let's get that real quick. 33 and 27.
Yeah, kind.
Mm-hmm.
Sirach 33 and 27. Send him to labor, that he be not idle. For idleness teacheth much evil.
For idleness teaches much evil. So that's how. So I pray that thou take them not out of the world, but that thou mayest keep them from evil. The number one way, or one of the number one ways to, if you will to be in bad times, bad situations, losing and all that, about to die, to Jacob's trouble or whatever. It's by being idle, due to idleness. And the elect not going to die in Jacob's trouble. He said, behold, that the day is come. Alas, for that day is great day. So there is none like it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The elect. See that? So if you're not saved, it go back to that. So anyway, So you got taking care of the household of faith, like I said, in whatever way you can, like the ministry, if you're not teaching, because that's taking care of it too. But you got other things to where you could be doing and, moves you making and stuff like that. And then you got obviously your actual worldly affairs, so-called worldly affairs. That's your household, So that's that. If you ain't doing that, come on, man. All right. Because the Lord, he come first. So that's how we know that's true. That's how you have Peter and them forsaken all, because in the we forsook all, we ain't get the goddamn family man. All right. We ain't Carl Winslow, we not that, man. All right, let's get verse. Now let's move on to this real quick. Let's get verse. This dealing with the sisters. Let's get verse 5 real quick. You know what? Let's get 4.
Yeah, first
you start at 3. It's all good. Start at 3. You got it, brother.
1 Timothy 5:3. Honor widows that are widows indeed.
All right, sisters, go ahead.
It says, but if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to shew piety at home.
Right.
And to requite their parents.
Right.
For that is good and acceptable before the Heavenly Father.
So woman, she's supposed to be taking care of things as orderly as at home, right? But that's according, carnally, but that's according to, it's according to what's to be done and pleasing to the Lord. It's according to what's to be done according to the Lord, and it's what's pleasing to the Lord. That's what she's supposed to be tending to. You know what I'm saying? Period. And that, even though it's carnal, it's not for carnal means. It's for the spirit. Like, these spirits are housed by carnal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take care of that side too. So you got it. This is not saying this is exactly going into that, but this is just to make a point, right? You got it.
Verse 5 says, now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in the Heavenly Father.
Right. She trusted in Yahweh Shemel Shah. So she's not tending to the home or honoring, mother and father or something like that, dealing with the kids on some carnal shit. It's because she knows her role according to the scriptures. That's that. Right? And if mom's not in the truth, they don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not to tend to anything outside of that. Tend to. Be minding as if it's the Lord's interest. Having her mind as the forefront and the center, or really anywhere in her mind, as if it's should be an interest, as if it's an interest. No, only the things that's of the best interest, to where we can get out of here. Right? Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, it says.
We're gonna close out this chapter 2, by the way. You got it. We're not reading the whole chapter. We're gonna close out with this. You got it.
Yeah, it says, and continue with in supplications and prayers night and day.
See? Read that from the top, Bible Shah.
1 Timothy 5:5. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day.
Right? So that's what an elect lady is to be doing. I believe it says that in James. You got sisters as are the elect. So it's nothing idle. She's tending to the Lord. The Lord ain't dealing with idleness. Now, this obviously talking about a sister that's in the truth, and her husband was in the truth, but the Lord brought him back to the spirit world for time being. You know what I'm saying? Until the Lord come back and he resurrect him. Ultimately, if that man died in the Lord, obviously, and that will make her, a widow that's honored. Really, you stay away from any of them, because they tell you that I'm just trying to keep this in context. This is a sister who husband was in the truth. That's what this is talking about. But just using this to show pretty much a woman that's approved, the woman that's approved, not just by being a widow, but the sister. Now, this is in the NLT, same verse. Now, a true widow, a woman who is truly alone in this world, has placed her hope in Yahweh Ba'Shemel Shai. She prays night and day, asking God for his help, Yahweh Ba'Shemel Shai for his help. Now, read the next verse, Bible Shop. Verse 6. I think he froze.
Yeah, I believe so. 1 Timothy 5 and 6. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth.
This is another way to be idle. That's the whole point. If she's not doing this, she's not in the spirit of the ministry, getting stuff done, etc., etc., etc. Ultimately, you see this is us too, because we're compared to the Lord's woman, obviously the nation, but it's the same thing. If you just caught up in the world, this is another way you're idle. You shouldn't just be sitting on your phone, scrolling on YouTube, right? For hours straight. I'm guilty of this. That's fucking idle. If it's not helping you, if it's not of one's best interest, it's idleness. It don't matter you doing something. If it's not of your best interest, that's idle, bro. You just around so-called people, so-called family. These niggas not even in the truth. You talking, man, that's idle. That's how you end up getting shot in a damn drive-by. Idleness teach much lever. You're not attending to nothing. This is a different way of being idle. So that was the whole point. You got it out.
This is 1 Timothy 5 and verse 7. And these things give in charge that they may be blameless.
Now let's read that in the NLT, Bible Shop.
This is 1 Timothy 5 and 7 in the NLT. Give these instructions to the church so that no one will be open to criticism.
See, that's just the message. See, so it's a play on the whole church. Everybody in the church can take heed to this, right? So let's jump to the point now. Verse 11, and we're going to stop at verse 15.
This is 1 Timothy 5 and 11 in the NLT. The
You
younger
can read,
widow,
now you can read it in the KJV.
1 Timothy 5 and 11 in the KJV. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against the Mashiach, they will marry.
So they starting to get into a bunch of stuff. They being excessive, stuff they ain't supposed to be doing. Hence another form of idleness. Because you're not, what the Lord say, busybodies but working not at all, right? You got it, brother, unless you had some.
It says, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith.
Exactly. You got it.
And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house.
See that? That's showing you, this basically instructions for a sister her husband passed. That was in the truth. Right? She ain't supposed to be out here goddamn, hopscotching. That's idle. You just out here. If you're not tending none of the best interest, but you're doing a bunch of stuff, you're still idle. It don't matter you're not sitting doing nothing. You're idle. That's idleness. You got it. As it said. You got it.
And not only
and you're damn now because you left your first faith. You left your husband. He coming back. You know what I'm saying? So you sisters that, your husbands, they sick, they probably elderly or something, they ill. Don't leave that man. Fear the Lord. Don't leave him. Just talking about the younger sisters. Because a sister of a certain age, she, that's a wrap for her anyway. You got it. And you're not even supposed to remarry your sister. A sister can't even remarry, even if her husband, I don't even go into that because we'd be here all night. You got it.
And not only idle, but tattlers also and busybodies,
Mm-hmm.
speaking things which they ought not.
Yeah, busybodies. Meaning you and the scriptures talk about the busybodies. You doing a bunch, but you doing nothing, which is basically explaining this verse. You got it, brother.
I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children,
Mm-hmm.
guide the house,
Mm-hmm.
give non-occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Yep. That's it. Last verse.
For some are already turned aside after Satan.
That's it. And that basically comes down to what the result is if you're idle. You know, Satan, being face to face with Satan. You know, he do nothing but to kill. Devil come not do nothing but to kill, steal and destroy. You know, roughly paraphrasing. Full 360. So, brothers ain't had nothing else. We're going to shut it down. Call La Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Kakadash, Abba, Abba, Carmen, Ashala. Till next time. Shalom.